Welcome, one and all, to Bike Racing Without Mercy. And dearly beloved, you are gathered here today to watch this mammal cash a cheque that I probably can't afford, taking on a 5-day stage race, the Haute Route Dolomites, comprising 425 of Italy's finest kilometres and some of the most magnificent mountains in Europe. 13,000 metres of elevation, that's more than adequate for me. It's been a little bit reduced today because of bad weather up at 2,700 metres plus and also a landslide, but nonetheless 13,000 metres over the course of 5 days is going to be emotional. And as always, with me is my trusty but much pranged Villia, and also my unique ability to get lost, get ill, and generally attract chaos. So via Zwift, which I think we can all agree is very similar to the Dolomites, Paul and I are here. But should we have come? Well, Paul should have come. I probably shouldn't. I really want to be here, but maybe it's a bit above my pay grade. Anyway, find out, should I have come? 5 seconds to go, and with the battery dwindling, time to get off into the neutralised zone and then up all the way to the Umbrail Pass. Cheers, Fergus!
Paulie, over 18.
Get ready. If you want it to be. In the next couple of videos, I'm going to treat you to a masterclass concerning how to turn a perfectly formed event and route in a mesmerisingly beautiful part of the world into an IRL tour of Watopia. I was still a little bit nervous about riding nearer the front in a fast-paced group. Not, of course, the very first group, because that would have broken me very, very quickly. Anyway, I placed myself at the back of the start pen each day, preferring to plot a careful course back through the various bunches in order to make up as many places as my furious whirring legs would allow. And that actually makes for a very nice looking film, as you'll see now. And as an FYI, I've actually now made steps to upgrade my peloton confidence. As you're going to see in a forthcoming video, the UCI Gran Fondo Tre Valli Varese, an absolutely epic Gran Fondo, probably one of my favourite events of all time, right up there with the Gran Fondo Strada Bianche. Plus, I'm also back to where I started, taking part in the London crit scene, where no mercy is shown, especially to those lacking fitness or racecraft. All said, if you like watching a couple of blokes ride around and not through, as for Zwift, hundreds of other cyclists and their carbon machines, against a visual backdrop that's going to remind you why you still Zwift in February, well, do stay tuned because we put together a grade A edit. But if it's out and out racing and insight that you want, well, click on Chris Miller Cycling, not nearly Bike Racing Without Mercy. A couple of days earlier, having recce'd this climb to the Umbrail Pass, followed by the full fat and massively iconic Passo Stelvio from Prato on the other side of the mountain range, I can faithfully confirm that this is by far my preferred of the two, and it's also better than the Gavia Pass that comes later in this video. And as I touched on during the video introduction, during stage 1 of the Haute Route, we were meant to go on to complete the full fat climb from Prato to the top of the Stelvio. However, the poor weather, the snow, the landslide further down the other side of the Umbrail Pass all conspired to prevent that today.
Stay tight. Every time the gap opens, work harder. Take speed. Exactly downhill. Good, much better. Nice, good.
A beautiful waterfall visual fused with beautiful advice from Paul. Keep the power down and build speed on the hairpins. Do not let up.
Nice and relaxed. Let the legs work. Just about fluid legs. 10 places, I'd say. Just by not rinsing out. Sweet now. And again, little flat. The short come. Clean shot. Yeah, nice.
Words of praise on the climb and from Paul are a sweet, sweet nectar and spur on more good behaviours from me. Over the next few kilometres, I have a nice little race with number 540, pitting his style and panache against my relentless diesel engine. A veritable battle of attrition, albeit not quite royale. The altitude makes a tangible difference. There's less oxygen in the blood, higher heart rate, and a bit less power and speed, plus worse sleep. We get up to 2,600 metres on this ascent. So I definitely advise when in this terrain, take 2 to 3 days to acclimatise at zone 2 before trying any kind of effort. Number 540 senses the presence of a mammal on a blue Villiers. I'd love to be able to say that I nonchalantly swept past his white Cannondale, but in reality, the effort was intense. But fear not, 540 demonstrates his tenacity and panache a little bit later on. We have another couple of duels.
So it's only actually 3k climbing. It's only 3k of climbing. Got the flat in about the K time.
Merely bike racing without mercy does not sense the presence of a mammal numbered 540 on a white Cannondale. As the altitude rises and the temperature drops, we have a final encounter. Find out who prevails. As the effort really starts to bite, I'm reunited with my new friend, foe.
Don't feel in the draft, mate.
Spurred on by a higher power, aka Paul, relentless prevails over panache.
Yeah, good. It's saying the benefits of a little recovery in a minute.
Just over the brow, the gradient flattens off from 8% in the preceding 14 kilometres to a lowly 4 to 5. I think we can all agree, here demonstrating beautiful bike handling whilst consuming water and carbs.
See the wind. Yeah, good. Keep holding it. Slowly going to let the speed come up. Big press through the belly now. Jump on. Yeah, I hope so. I'll try to. Yeah, really good. Much better last 2 minutes. Nice. So I think it's about 5 or 6 minutes, Phil.
Yep. It's August and we're in the snow. Come to Bormio, they said. Ride bikes up beautiful mountains, they said. Bring a sledge, they didn't said. I thought about making this my Christmas special.
Accelerate here. Push, push, push.
You can also climb from where we finish at the top of the Umbrail Pass, onwards and upwards to the summit of the Stelvio itself. As I say, this route is pretty much long climbing perfection.
Push, push, push. Kick, kick, kick. Pick up the corner. Yeah. Sprint, sprint.
Not exactly a sprint finish here, deploying a dour 270 watts into the finish line. But I'll put money on number 540 bringing it home with an out of the saddle flourish for maximum panache. 66 out of 400 on the day, including the loss of 90 seconds as a result of starting at the back and crossing the start line last. Coached by Paul, it was however a decent climb up the Strava segment. I was in the top 2.5% for my age group, and compared to the 40,000 of us who've recorded this climb, the top 6% overall.
Daryl's looking after us and sports tours of the International. Yeah. Not an emergency coat for once. That felt really good. My first decent big climb since the Col de la Madone, and once again Paul coached me up like a boss.
Well, my breakfast is going to stay consistent with what I've been having at home. A couple of M&S pancakes. I bought a big old store of those. Green tea, water, and a nitroglycerine of the honey.
Stage 2, the Gavia and the Tonale are the first two climbs on the agenda, and then we're garnishing it with a third before we descend into Trento. 3,000 metres of elevation, 120 kilometres, and a 50-kilometre transition. Fergus!
Day 2, and once again cold, and once again intent on rising back up and through the field, well, some of the field, like a lycra-clad phoenix attached to a premium carbon bicycle.
Thank you very much, Dave.
A fellow aficionado of elegant Italian carbon and having no savings in the bank.
Ah, good here.
Charming villages and little, well-behaved cobbles. The perfect way to start a climb. From carbon cutting through the air to headwind. The gentleman coming up on the right of your screen is Crispin, from the beautiful US state of Georgia, and he's one incredible cyclist in his 50s. And Crispin had literally just completed the 7-day Haute Route Alps. More of him to come.
Did you taking you all the way?
Yes, not the whole way.
That sucks.
Some of it.
How long do you spend editing?
About 50 hours.
And the edit for this video, part 1 of 2 Haute Route Dolomites videos, has taken materially more than 50 hours.
Respect, horse. Go a bit.
The sheep on her back accompanies her everywhere, as also seen on the Umbrail Pass the day before. Louis Bobet, winner of many races, including ×3 TDFs. The luxurious hairpin and steep ramp to the final third of the climb is one of the highlights of Gavia. Aside from the shallow first 12 minutes or so, I rode this climb at a pretty consistent 220 to 240 watts because I wanted to leave good energy for the second and third climbs of the day, but also enough in the tank to stay consistent on the power on the Gavia at the higher altitudes, 2,000 metres through 2,600, from about here on in. Catching back up with Crispin, a very good Samaritan, as you'll see. Whilst other channels give you racing and daredevil challenges, I present a slow-mo survival of the mammal at high altitude. Emitting all kinds of positive energy from Georgia, Crispin generates warmth out of the snow by returning the dropped glasses to the guy in the red bib shorts.
I love their paint jobs, the videos or whatever.
Thank you.
Coming from the heat wave the prior week in the Haute Route Alps, Crispin was cold but also riding within himself and keen to get off the mountain. The next day, on the individual time trial, Crispin swept past me like I was going backwards. Here's a nice flowing scene through the snow and the bovines and the lesser gradients at the top of the Gavia.
Come on, tight.
At this stage, proper cold, but simultaneously congratulating myself for wearing my winter warms and contemplating how I'm going to get through the feed station fast and efficiently and then down this mountain safely and into the warmth. It was a decent climb for me, including a few neutralised kilometres just coming out of Bormio. Overall consistent power, averaging about 225 watts after the first 12 minutes or so, i.e. once the neutralised section ended. And once again, for the full segment, I was in the top 2% for my age group and top 5% of the 31,000 of us who have recorded the segment in Strava, accepting of course that a Haute Route isn't really about Strava segments. Back in April in Nice with Paul, I spent a fair bit of time improving my descending. Safe, not fast. And I gotta say, it's really hard not to enjoy going down a mountain in this part of the world. Luxurious hairpins, flowing corners, plus the Haute Route neutralising most of the descents, enabling me to get my flow on en route to the Tonale. Northern Italy is a land of milk and honey, with beautiful and challenging mountain routes literally on tap. In most other global locations, the Tonale would be a splendid climb. But when you're spoilt for choice, as you're also going to see in the next video, it merits less time in the edit. And that's also compounded by the fact that we caught most of the riders in a field we could actually catch, and therefore we're mainly riding alone. So I'm only going to show a few snippets. At this point I felt that I was starting to ride with a bit more confidence and also consistency, a lower altitude but 230 watts average and energy in reserve for the final climb, Predaia.
For Sports Tours International, treating us like kings. At the top of the Tonale, it was a decent climb, about 232 watts, and felt good. Gradually ramped the power, and I was happy with the climb up the Gavia. Difficult climb, especially with about 7 kilometers to go. It gets really steep and rampy, but views on views. Anyway, one more climb to go, and then a long old transition back down to Trento and the warmth. And as a quick FYI, making use of the Sports Tours International concierge service in order to change out of the heavy winter jacket into something much more lighter and svelte. The Haute Route jersey actually is proper tight. I might even wear that for the TT tomorrow, for the final warmer part of the ride today. Race, it's a race. I promise you, it's kind of race.
In our race from the snow to the sunshine, the Tonale represented our transition ascent, up and out of the cold, and here, commencing the descent into the warmth and a good life.
No, keep going. I'll make... Come on.
Parts of this climb are incredible. The contrast of being in the sun and warm, plus making our way through the beautiful towns of Corrido and Smerano, the good life.
Buongiorno. Cheers.
The wooded run into the summit is not exactly a YouTuber's dream, but coming from the lower altitude and having saved energy earlier, my power remained true, about 234 watts, and the pace therefore decent for me. 56th on the day and picking up 5 places overall, plus not far off Crispin.
Welcome on 20, Paul's home, Philip's home, day 2 is over again.
Is that a response to your end of stage 2?
Emotional.
I can see that.
Proper emotional. The man Hamlet, he's dragged me up. The maestro. Well, dearly beloved, that was proper emotional, but my best ride since the accident, courtesy of the maestro, the virtuoso of the bicycle, Mr. Paul Hamlet. He saved me all kinds of energy in the valley into the headwind. 300 watts, I was sat on his wheel at about 180 average, including the climbs, so probably less than that on the, well, definitely less than that on the flats. But Paul, thank you as always. You, sir, made a difference. I feel completely uplifted. That was 3 decent climbs and a couple of little intermediate climbs as well.
Yeah, 5-10 minutes.
And definitely the power and the energy came up as the altitude came down. I'll report back. Sports Tours International, thank you ever so much.
Not a problem, Phil. Well done.
And your race bags made all the difference because I was able to swap the clothes from proper warm
It's a nice
to actually quite nice and svelte, summery. Summery, I'm thinking I'm quite summery, don't I? I'm looking very Haute Route-ish.
With your Haute Route top.
Yeah,
That
indeed.
makes a sense.
It makes a huge difference, so thank you ever so much.
Not a problem.
Appreciate what you and Annie did, and thank you ever so much for the Coca-Colas. I massively appreciate it. Cheers. A little bit of the event today. Florian from Sports Tours, good to see you. How are you this morning?
Yeah, very good. You?
Oh, very good. You're looking after us beautifully, sir.
Yeah.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Beautiful weather you've laid on today here in Trento. My kind of weather. Every cyclist kind of weather.
Buona corrida, have a good race. Buon prova. Okay, Nico.
Good luck, Philip.
A consistent 250 watts and 50-50 left-right balance placed me 54 on the day and in the top 9% of the 8,300 of us who have recorded this segment on Strava.
Here is Crispin. Saw him on Gavia yesterday. Crispin, thanks ever so much for the encouragement yesterday.
Oh, no worries.
Really needed it.
Fun. You did great.
Crispin,
Pushing towards top.
Crispin did the Haute Route Alps, then the Dolomites. You were down for punishment.
Yeah, I loved it. You know what? I said I'd never do it again, but now if I could get some of my friends back from the US to join me, I'd do it again.
And from the beautiful state of Georgia.
Yeah, nice and hot.
You were going real well on the
Thanks.
climb today. You were
Thanks.
looking like a boss.
Yeah, I
Full
had
respect to you, sir.
a few days of recovery between the Alps and this, and then ready to go.
few days of recovery. It'll take me about 2 months of recovery just to get over this one. Awesome, sir. Really enjoyed riding with you.
Yeah, we'll do it tomorrow again.
It was nice watching you scream past me.
Slowly past.
Yeah, you wafted like a jaguar. Real good. Hey Drew, how'd you go?
Oh,
Was it good?
absolutely shattered, but 13 watts above my pacing strategy.
Nice.
So I'm very happy with that. And
Drew is from Canada and he is a boss out of the saddle. So where are you out of the saddle?
je viens de Québec. Salut les autres Québécois ici.
Salute de Quebec.
Salut.
And Eric Lee from Don't Get Dropped Cycling.
Oh yeah. What's up, Eric?
There you go. So you're 13 watts above your target pace.
Yeah, and
nice.
11 watts below FTP for an effort over an hour. I mean,
Wow.
Can't be displeased with that.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Enjoy the moment.
What about you, Phil?
It was about the same. I was about 10 watts below my FTP.
Oh, nice.
So it was all right. Yeah. I look forward to seeing where we came respectively.
I know, right?
Crispin's showing his class and pulling away. Do check out my second and final video from the Haute Route Dolomites. It's packed with beautiful climbs, including a full gas ascent out of Trento on day 4, and then on the final day, the jewel in the crown, the jaw-dropping, the sublime Passo Gavia and Passo Valparaiso. Bucket list climbs for any cyclist.